Welcome to my channel again. This is Dr. Emmanuel, and today I want us to do a very quick revision on the muscles of the arm. So the arm essentially is that part of your upper limb above your elbow, so between your shoulder and your elbow. That is your arm, and your arm has a couple of, or our arms have a couple of important muscles, which we can see right here. So important muscles we'll be looking at the biceps brachii, which is the muscle right in front of your arm, which bulges, when you flex your arm, when you flex your elbow or flex your arm. So that's flex your forearm rather. So that's your biceps brachii, and behind your biceps to the medial side you have your Coracobrachialis. And if you reflect these biceps off the way, we have our Brachialis muscle, which is also a bulky muscle, as you can see there. So this image is taken from Frank Netter's Atlas of Human Anatomy. So before we look into the details here, let's just have a quick look. So we can see that our biceps brachii has a long head, which is there, right there on the lateral side, and it has a short head which is there on this side. So for the way I've copied and pasted the image gives it a sort of distortion, in terms of length and orientation, so it's such that it looks as though the short head is actually bigger than the long head, but I think it's just the way I copied and pasted. So that's the long head of your biceps brachii. So brachii, is arm, and biceps means two head, so biceps, two, and then brachii is arm. So biceps brachii, it has two head, the long head and the short head. We can see the short head coming from the tip of our coracoid process. We can see the long head coming from somewhere, which we can see here. So the long head actually comes from a notch. It comes from a tubercle, the supraglenoid tubercle, which is somewhere there, and runs all the way beneath this ligament, and then emerges. Okay, we can see that's the intertubercular tendon sheath. It emerges, it runs through the intertubercular sulcus. Okay, and we can see the biceps brachii tendon. So that's the tendon of the biceps brachii, via which it attaches, to the radius. And then we have this bicipital aponeurosis, which is also a thickened fibrous structure via which these biceps brachii attaches to the fascia of the forearm. So this is just an overview of what the biceps brachii looks like. And the biceps brachii essentially flexes the arm. Okay, so if you pull this way, it's going to lift your forearm. So it flexes the forearm or flexes the elbow. So that's just a quick summary of the biceps brachii. Looking at this other muscle here, which is called the Coracobrachialis. So this Coracobrachialis, from the name coraco, means from the coracoid process, and brachial means arm. So Coracobrachialis, a muscle that comes from the coracoid process, and it's also a muscle of the arm, originating also from the tip of the coracoid process. Coracoid process is a part of the scapula. So from the tip of the coracoid process, and if we look there, we can see where the Coracobrachialis muscle inserts. So it comes from the tip of the coracoid process, and it attaches or inserts distally to the medial half. Okay, medial midpoints of the humerus. I was just struggling to get the right description there. Okay, and if we have a look there, so the biceps brachii, long head from the supraglenoid tubercle of the humerus. Well, the supraglenoid tubercle actually is the scapula, because the glenoid is on the scapula. Okay, And then the short head is from the tip of the coracoid process of the scapula. It inserts into the radial tuberosity and the fascia of the forearm. So as we said, the bicipital aponeurosis, via this bicipital aponeurosis, it blends with the fascia of the forearm, okay? The deep fascia which overlies these, which overlies the flexor carpi, radialis and the pronator term. So the deep fascia of the forearm, so this bicipital aponeurosis blends, it attaches to the deep fascia of the forearm, and then the biceps brachii tendon. If we just do a flip, the biceps brachii tendon attaches there. You can see it, biceps brachii muscle. It attaches to the medial tubercle of the radius. Okay, the radial tuberosity, just called the radial tuberosity. It's innervated by the musculoskeletal nerve, and the action of the biceps, it flexes the forearm when it is supinated. It also contributes, to the supination of the forearm. So the supinator muscle and the biceps also contribute in supinating the forearm. Looking at our coracobrachialis muscle, arises from the tip of the coracoid process, as we can see right there. That's the coracoid process, and coming from the tip, we have our coracobrachialis muscle. Okay, that's it. That's the short head, the origin of the short head of the biceps brachii, which has been cut just for us to appreciate the coracobrachialis muscle. And we can see that the musculocutaneous nerve, which is a nerve right there, actually pierces through the belly. It pierces through the substance, or you can say through the belly of the coracobrachialis muscle. That's just an important relation. Coracobrachialis arises from the tip of the coracoid process of the scapula, and it inserts into the middle third. Yeah, that's right. I was struggling to get the right description. It inserts into the middle third of the medial surface of the humerus, and it's also supplied by the musculocutaneous nerve C5, C6, C7. Blood supply, muscular branches of the brachial artery. Brachial artery also supplies the biceps brachii, and the function of the coracobrachialis is it flexes and adducts the arm. Let's have a look. So it's the biceps, because it inserts distally, it flexes the forearm. You can see flexes the elbow, whereas the coracobrachialis, because it inserts into the arm, into the humerus, it just spans this distance. If you have a pull, proximal pull, it's going to flex the arm, and because you see it's actually lying this way, it's going to adduct. It contributes in adducting and flexing the arm. Let's look at the brachialis muscle. If you look at the brachialis muscle there, the brachialis arises from, let's have a look at this. The brachialis has an extensive origin. It arises from the anterior lower half of, we can say it arises from the lower half of the anterior surface of the humerus. You can see it has an extensive origin, and part of the origin extends to the back. It's a slip. Brachialis muscle. Most of its origin is from the anterior surface, the lower half of the anterior surface of the humerus. Okay. And the insertion is the anterior part of the, you can see where it inserts on the ulnar bone. So brachialis muscle, origin distal half of the anterior surface of the humerus, and insertion is the coronoid process and tuberosity of the ulna, which is in the proximal part of the ulnar bone. Okay, proximal part of the ulnar bone. Okay, coronoid process and the tuberosity, ulnar tuberosity. It's also innervated by the musculocutaneous nerve, and it flexes the forearm. It makes sense that it flexes the forearm. It inserts into the ulnar tuberosity. If we have a look there, it inserts into the ulnar tuberosity. The biceps inserts into the radial tuberosity. Okay, whereas the brachialis muscle is the ulnar tuberosity. Okay. Musculocutaneous nerve innervates the coracobrachialis. You can see it innervates the brachialis muscle, and it also innervates the biceps brachii muscle. That's our deltoid muscle, one of the muscles of the shoulder. Okay, we'll get to see that in another video. So this here is also extracted, this table is extracted from Atlas of Human Anatomy by Frank Netters. Okay, and this is a very good summary of the muscles of the arm. So very brief revision again: biceps brachii, long head from the supraglenoid tubercle. Okay, and it emerges and it joins with the short head that comes from the tip of the coracoid process, and they form the belly or the substance of the biceps brachii, and then it has two insertions: the biceps tendon into the radial tuberosity and the bicipital aponeurosis, via which it merges or blends into the deep fascia of the forearm. Alright, we've got the coracobrachialis muscle by way of summary: origin from the tip of the coracoid process, insertion the middle third of the medial surface of the humerus, right there. Okay, we've got the brachialis muscle, origin quite extensive, lower half, or you can say distal half or lower half, distal half of the anterior surface of the humerus, insertion ulnar tuberosity, action flexing of the forearm, action of biceps flexing of the forearm, action of coracobrachialis flexing of the arm, not the forearm. Okay, and nerve supply: musculocutaneous nerve, C5, C6, C7. It's one of the distal branches, or one of the distal continuations of distal continuations or terminal branches of the brachial plexus, musculocutaneous nerve. There it is, C5, C6, C7. We can confidently say the musculocutaneous nerve innervates the muscles of the arm, the muscles of the anterior compartment of the arm. Let's go to the posterior compartment of the arm. We have the large muscle behind our arm called the triceps brachii. Triceps means seps or seps, cephalic. Seps means head and tri means three. So triceps means a muscle with three heads, and triceps brachii, we say that brachii means arm. So triceps brachii means a muscle of the arm that has three heads. And what are these heads? We have the long head of the triceps coming from the infraglenoid tubercle. Okay, the supraglenoid tubercle gives origin to the long head of the biceps brachii. The infraglenoid tubercle, which we will see, which is right there, somewhere there. Okay, we have our glenoid cavity, glenoid fossa, and just there we have our infraglenoid. So if you look at this, long head from infraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. So you see that's the scapula. So that's there is a mistake. That should be supraglenoid tubercle of the scapula for the long head of biceps. So the long head of the triceps is from the infraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. It has a lateral head from the upper half of the posterior surface of the humerus. It has a medial head from the distal two-thirds of the medial and posterior humerus. Let's have a look at that. So triceps, the medial head, extensive origin from the distal two-thirds. One could say distal half, Someone might say two-thirds. Distal half, posterior surface of the humerus gives origin to the medial head of the triceps brachii. So it is just as a slip, okay? Very close to the radial groove. Alright? You can see just lateral to the radial groove, somewhere there. Just lateral to the radial groove. That's a good description. Just lateral to the radial groove on the posterior upper surface of the humerus. You have the lateral head of your triceps brachii, and these three heads come together. So the long head coming from there, okay, the infraglenoid tubercle, the lateral head coming from the upper posterior surface of the humerus, just lateral to the radial groove, which is there, and then this extensive origin of the medial head from the lower half of the posterior surface of the humerus. They all converge together, those three heads, to form the belly of your triceps brachii, which inserts via the triceps tendon into the olecranon process of the ulna, which is there. So you see, that's the long head. That's our lateral head, and deep. If you cut off this lateral head and reflect it, you see there is our medial head. Look at that, medial head of the triceps brachii. Okay, so the medial head is deep to the lateral head. Okay, so that's it. That's our medial head, lateral head, long head, all uniting, ending up with this triceps tendon that inserts into the olecranon process of our ulnar bone. What is the nerve function of this triceps radial nerve C6, C7, C8? So the radial nerve actually has, a wide contribution of nerve roots from C5 all the way to T1. But we've seen that it's only C6, C7, and C8 nerve roots from that radial nerve that actually innervate the triceps. So the triceps is not innervated by all the nerve roots of the radial nerve. Okay, so C6, C7, C8, triceps brachii, okay, from the radial nerve. Arterial supply of the triceps muscle from a branch of the profunda brachii artery. So profunda means deep, brachii means arm. So a deep artery of the arm, which is a branch of the brachial artery, okay, the profunda brachii artery, supplies blood to the triceps brachii. Function of the triceps brachii, it helps to extend the forearm. Okay, if we look at that, what does it do? It inserts into this. When you pull the triceps or you contract the triceps, it helps to straighten your elbow or extend your forearm. That's what it does. So this is a very good revision. Let's just revise this posterior compartment again. We have a long head of triceps coming from the infraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. We have our medial head of triceps, extensive origin. We have a slip origin. If you look at it, it's like a slip. It's not very wide, isn't it? A slip origin of the lateral head of the triceps brachii from the upper half of the posterior surface of the humerus, just lateral to our radial groove. This radial groove, is a groove for the profunda brachii artery and the radial nerve. Okay, they run through this radial groove. So once again, we can have a look at this. Table. Biceps brachii, Coracobrachialis, Brachialis, Triceps brachii. Okay, musculoskeletal nerve innervates Biceps brachii, Coracobrachialis, and the Brachialis muscles. And we've looked at the origin and insertion of these muscles. Let's look at the bone. Okay, Triceps brachii, long head of Triceps brachii from the infraglenoid tubercle. If we look at the tip of the coracoid process, we can see that the coracobrachialis muscle comes from there, and we can see that the short head of the biceps brachii also originates from the tip of the coracoid process. Now, from this is a glenoid. This is our glenoid fossa. We've got the infraglenoid tubercle there. We've got the supraglenoid tubercle there. You can see the red. So the red here means origin, and the blue here means insertion. I know it's reversed for some people, so people would rather use blue to mean their origin and red to mean their insertion. But you see, it's reversed here. Origin is red. So the red there, you can see from the supraglenoid tubercle, the long head of the biceps brachii originates. And this is our intertubercular sulcus or intertubercular groove, okay, where the long head, okay, latissimus latissimus dorsi, if you look at that, latissimus dorsi sits, between the two, in the intertubercular groove, between the greater and the lesser tubercles. but you see it's not sitting directly within the tubercle, within the groove. So within this groove, the long head, our long head of biceps comes this way, emerges this way, okay, lies within the proximal part of this intertubercular sulcus, and then it joins with the short head of the biceps, and then they end up inserting via the biceps tendon into the radial tuberosity. You can see that. That there is our origin of our brachialis muscle. That there is our insertion of our coracobrachialis. Okay. That there is the insertion, the coronoid process of the ulna. Okay, and the ulnar tuberosity. We've got the insertion of our brachialis muscle. Okay, so we've come to the end of this very short revision of the muscles of the arm. If you think it was really helpful, I would encourage you to like and subscribe to my channel for more videos where we will be doing very quick revisions to enhance our understanding and our retention of useful information. Thank you.